Hello, my queen. Welcome to Inner Empire, the space where we shed light on modern promises that seem liberating, but actually exhaust the soul and fragment the being. Before we go further, I invite you to like this video, share it with someone who feels they must constantly reinvent themselves to get better, and to subscribe to the channel. Every share is a mirror held up to those who run without ever stopping. Today, we are talking about a lie deeply rooted in our culture. The idea that if you are not happy, you just need to change who you are. If something hurts, it's supposedly proof that your current identity is obsolete and needs to be replaced. This discourse is omnipresent. It seeps into personal development, social media, self-marketing, and success speeches. You are told your malaise comes from an outdated version of yourself, that you must rebrand your identity, erase the old one, and create a new one. What this discourse never says is that it transforms all suffering into an identity flaw. It doesn't ask what you are going through, but what you must change so it is no longer seen. It doesn't seek to understand. It demands a visible transformation. My queen, this message seems full of hope, but it carries a silent violence. It transforms every inner discomfort into proof that you are not yet the right version of yourself. If you are doing poorly, it's because you haven't changed enough yet. So you reinvent yourself. You modify your image. You adjust your speech. You adopt new codes. And internally, you no longer have the right to stop. You cannot stay. You cannot deposit what you feel. You must move forward, evolve, show that you are in transformation. But inside, nothing rests. The culture of permanent rebranding leaves no space for integration. It values rupture, visible metamorphosis, and rapid change. But it despises slow, invisible, inner work, the kind that requires time and patience. The inner price of this flight is heavy. Existential fatigue, identity fragmentation, the feeling of never being whole. You move from one mask to another, from one version to another, without ever feeling that you can finally land. The person begins to feel pieced together. They no longer know which of their versions is real. They adapt, they perform, they adjust, but they never feel inhabited. The more they change, the less they recognize themselves. You may feel like you're evolving, but in reality, you're fleeing. You flee what needs to be looked at slowly. You flee old wounds. You flee the vulnerable parts that don't match the idealized identity society values. To illustrate this mechanism, let's look at the story of Madonna, a global icon of permanent transformation. For decades, she has embodied the idea that one must constantly reinvent oneself to stay free, desired, powerful, and relevant. Every era saw the birth of a new Madonna. Very young, Madonna understood that changing was a strategy for survival and control. From a childhood marked by the early loss of her mother, she learned to build herself in successive layers, always stronger, more provocative, more visible. Each transformation was hailed as proof of freedom, but it was also a response to a deep fear, disappearing, becoming insignificant, no longer being loved. Change became an inner obligation, not a peaceful choice. In several interviews, Madonna has acknowledged a constant struggle against aging, against loss of control, against inner silence. Behind the image of the free woman, there was a permanent tension to stay someone, no matter the cost. Changing identities never offered her rest. Each metamorphosis demanded the next. Each victory prepared a new fear. Freedom became a race without a finish line. The problem wasn't change itself, but the impossibility of stopping. My queen, this story reveals a truth that our culture refuses to look at. Changing identities can mask suffering, but it doesn't cure it. As long as transformation serves to flee, it exhausts instead of liberating. And the more we flee, the more we fragment. My queen, to escape this lie, we must first understand that true freedom is not found in external transformation, but in the acceptance and integration of who you are deeply. Modern culture glorifies visible change, but ignores the silent power of interiority. The first key is to settle into your body and mind, rather than chasing a new version of yourself. Meditation, conscious breathing, yoga, or even silent walks allow you to return to yourself and create a safe inner space to welcome what is. Modern science shows that these practices regulate the nervous system, reduce chronic stress, and improve mental clarity, which favors a lasting integration of identity. The second key is to name the parts of you that you refuse to see. Writing, drawing, journaling, or doing shadow work allows you to shed light on wounded or forgotten aspects, instead of fleeing them through new performances. Conscious recognition prevents inner fatigue. My queen, it's essential to understand that inner healing takes time. It isn't instant. It happens in regularity and silence. The Bible insists on patience and the process of inner growth, like a tree that doesn't grow in a day. A practical tool is to limit social rebrandings. Rather than changing your image to fit trends, choose each transformation with intention. Does this come from you or a desire to appear? Learning to discern is an act of freedom. The third key is to reintegrate your past experiences. Rather than fleeing failures and pain, look at them with awareness. Radical acceptance allows you to transform flight into strength and wisdom. The Bible also encourages reconciliation with one's past. Reading Alice Miller's The Drama of the Gifted Child and Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning will enlighten your identity pattern to build lasting freedom. Practicing a daily ritual of self-integration can be transformative. Every evening, ask yourself, what did I experience today, and how can I welcome it in me without fleeing? This question reconnects you to yourself rather than your mask. My queen, real freedom also happens through community and sincere sharing. Talking with mentors or trusted friends allows you not to be alone in the process and to avoid the spiral of perpetual self-reinvention. Belonging reinforces identity stability. Creative practices like singing, dancing, drawing, or writing can also be pathways for inner transformation. They allow you to express what cannot yet be put into words and to return to a state of authentic presence. It's also beneficial to explore spirituality or ancestral wisdom. The Bible or Stoicism teach that external transformation is not the path to peace. True freedom is in the inner alignment between what you are and how you live. Finally, remember that changing identities never sets you free if you flee what's already there. Transformation begins with the heart, not the image you project. Conscious integration creates a solid and resilient identity. Remember, my queen, freedom doesn't begin on the outside, but in the inner space where you choose truth over lies, awareness over automatism, and peace over performance. See you very soon on Inner Empire, where we don't build an image, but a solid and free inner kingdom.